Wheeler Mission. For over 131 years, Wheeler Mission has been a pillar in the Indianapolis community. Bertner Electric, your trusted electrician partner since 1986. The Morales Group, they're in business to create a better future for you and your family. Piper Logistics, your trusted logistics partner since 1994. Aspen Creek Grill, why go anywhere else? They have the largest selection of great food made from scratch and very affordable. And the IndianaSRN sports page. Follow the sports page every day, updated news coast to coast. Log on to IndianaSRN.org and click on the sports page tab. Troy Darengowski, Graham Nash with you on a beautiful night on our game of the week. We have two teams ranked in the top 20 in 1A, girls lacrosse. And Graham, this is a Pride team. 9 wins is the most of anybody. They're tied with one other team in 1A with those 9 wins. They're playing really good right now and ranked number 8 in the state.
Yeah, they've been phenomenal. Got off to a really good start, and they got to carry it through. You're getting to the most important parts of the season for girls lacrosse coming up to May when you're going to start having those playoff games and those really important ones. But they have been led phenomenally by senior Maddie Bovington Friedman. The goalie has played lacrosse for 7 years. She has been an absolute stud for this Pride team, and she's got to be good tonight.
Yeah, no doubt about it, because they're going to face a very good Roncalli team who will come in looking to get a big win here at home. Offensively, though, I'm curious. You don't see a whole lot of numbers by the Bloomington Pride that stand out. In fact, if you look at the recent numbers, Eve Arnold was one of those players who had 13 goals on the season. Other than that, there really isn't much offensively there that stands out.
No, there's not. They're kind of a team that seems to share the ball. They like to get a lot of pieces involved, and that can be very beneficial, kind of confuse the defense of, in this case, what would be the Royals. We'll see if they can do that tonight, but women's lacrosse, girls lacrosse is a sport where you've got to move it around quickly. They don't allow a lot of contact. Yeah. The referees are very stingy on what they're going to call, so the pace has to be pretty rapid. And Bloomington, they seem to be really good at doing just that.
And as you know, calling lacrosse in the past, this is a game where you got to win those draw controls. The other thing, and I'm always big on these guys that have been around me long enough, I hate turnovers. When I was a coach, I hated turnovers. You got to be able to hold on to that ball to give yourself a chance to score.
That's exactly right. The turnovers are momentum killers, and this is a game of runs. Literally, they're going to be running, but also figuratively, this game is so quick, and if you lose control of those possessions and lose your opportunities, it can kind of all come crashing down quickly for you.
All right, when we come back, we'll talk about the Royals of Roncalli next here on IndianaSRN.
Hello and welcome to Game Day. My name is Keith Myers. I'm the Vice President of IndianaSRN. We're glad that you joined us today. If you'd like to see more content just like tonight, just hit the donate button. Every dollar that you donate will go right back into more games right here on IndianaSRN. This means more games for you. It's IndianaSRN, where you always have a front row seat.
Looking to elevate your brand? Choose Dynamark, your local one-stop shop for all your print, signs, promo products, apparel, and mailing services. Serving Indianapolis for over 50 years. Dynamark, where strong relationships are built through exceptional service.
Back here at Bob Tully Field, getting ready for this matchup tonight between number 8, Bloomington Pride, number 18, Roncalli Royals. And this is a Royals team. You mentioned earlier the keeper we're going to see tonight for Bloomington Pride, but this is another good player on the other side. When you think about a keeper, they've got a couple of good ones, but the one that we're going to watch tonight is Addison Marsh. And we're going to talk about Addison coming up and the Royals here in just a couple of moments. We'll come back and continue to scout the Royals next here on IndianaSRN.
We're not here to just sell you another piece of software. We're here to helping you procure the licensing, manage and monitor those licenses over time.
Collaboration is very key when working with our clients. We are very much a partnering organization. We definitely work as a team to deliver solutions for our customers.
We're here to build relationships with customers, which is unique.
Hi, I'm I'm Grayson, and our parents work in road construction. Every day they head out to make our roads safer and better for you. But did you know work zone deaths have increased 63% since 2010?
Wow, that's a lot. Please slow down and pay attention when you see all those orange signs. When you do, you're helping to keep our parents and everyone who works on the roads safe. Thanks for looking out for us.
This message is brought to you by your friends at Highway Safety Services. Stay safe, stay alert.
We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, IndianaSRN. Hit the bell to get notifications for upcoming games and more. Watch as many games as you want, as many times as you want.
At Morales Group Staffing, we are all about building better futures. And during these times, we are working hard to put people to work. We are now hiring for hundreds of jobs with pay up to $17 an hour. Visit our website at moralesgroup.net or text JOBS, JOBS, to 317-472-7600 to apply now and get hired today.
From warehousing to transportation and everything in between, Piper Logistics does it all. Centrally located, Piper Logistics has 2 warehouses in Indianapolis and a warehouse in Cincinnati, Ohio. Piper Logistics houses over 1 million square feet. Along with our transportation department, we can provide service to half the United States markets.
We encourage you to follow us on Twitter at IndianaSRN. Find upcoming games, video highlights, and much more. Follow us now at IndianaSRN.
Zoe Gray.
Back here at Roncalli, our Indiana Girls Lacrosse Association game of the week. We're starting to talk about the Royals a couple of moments ago, ranked number 18. And you mentioned a little bit ago about the Bloomington Pride goalkeeper, but tonight we're going to see a pretty good one in Addison Marsh as well.
That's exactly right. Addison Marsh not only playing in her 8th year of lacrosse, almost one-upping the keeper on the other side, but also team captain, a big leader on this Roncalli team, will be playing for Marian University next year as well, so we'll be continuing her academic and playing career at Marian University. She is absolutely phenomenal. Excited to see her perform tonight. Excited to see these 2 goalies go back and forth.
Yeah, no doubt about it. They're going to be a big key tonight. Offensively, they have several players to look at here tonight. But again, nobody that stands out offensively like you might see in some of the players we've seen around the state. But Micaiah Pearson is one player maybe to look at. 11 goals coming in. She's a middie, a junior, and the coach calls her the toughest player on the team.
Yeah, a great player to have. Also a soccer player, so I think that kind of helps her understand almost the strategy of lacrosse. Soccer and lacrosse, pretty similar. You want to work it down the sides, try to get something back in the middle. Again, a lot less contact in girls lacrosse than there is maybe in soccer, but Pearson, a very physical player, wants to be physical because of that soccer background. Very, very tough. She's going to be great in the midfield.
A couple other players to look for. Haley Engel, 9 goals. At least these are the latest statistics we've been given. Also, Marianne Hauser, an attacker, 8 goals and an assist. Of course, you look at the bios for all these players on both teams, and they not only play during the season, but they play other sports, yes, but a lot of them are playing club ball as well, so they're kind of mixing that in there with, as you mentioned, soccer and some of the other sports. It's really keeping them very busy.
Yeah, schedules have to be insane, but that's what you sign up for in high school to a degree. I'm interested to see kind of how it also affects camaraderie and how it affects the team culture, because you're bouncing back and forth through different teams, different sports, so it's got to make things a little bit tough. You've got to think, but these teams, like you said, number 18, number 8 in the state, so they must have figured it out somehow.
Yeah, they're doing something right, that's for sure. So Roncalli in their home whites, the Bloomington Pride in their blue uniforms here tonight. The Pride again coming in ranked number 8, 9 wins on the season. We mentioned this a little bit ago in the earlier portion of the pregame. The 9 wins, the most, tied with just one other team in single A. And we're only, 40 days away from the tournament, so we're right around the corner. I've always said this as a coach, if we haven't got it figured out by now, we probably won't get it figured out by then. But these 2 teams have room for improvement, and they know full well that if they can get some things put together, they can make a deep run in the tournament.
That's right. This game's going to be telling, too. 2 big teams, 2 good teams, so this is where you get to test out some things that maybe you don't get to in other situations.
And this is always it's a different game on the girls' side than it is the boys' side. You have the face-off in the boys. You have the draw control in the girls, and both are vitally important. And draw controls, we just had a game the other night where draw controls ended up being like 18-3. And think about that's 15 more offensive possessions you get as opposed to the other team. It's big.
Yeah, and especially with draw controls, you can kind of run a little bit more. If you get a friendly bounce, the field kind of opens up.
You see a battle right here as once that draw control happens, then everybody gets to come in on the two sides and battle for it, and Roncalli will actually get the first draw control, and they'll move into the attacking third. Now let's see what they do offensively as they'll settle here. As we mentioned, the Bloomington Pride in goal, Maddie Bovington-Friedman. She is a senior and a 7-year player in the game of lacrosse. And we've talked with coaches in the past, and the one thing that they said is there's going to be a turnover. One thing they said is big is if you have a keeper that has good instincts, does a great job moving up and down laterally and laterally as well, as you see now both teams with a turnover, it's hard to teach that sometimes, the instincts as a keeper. Yeah, the instincts are so important, you're right, and it's also important not just for being in goal, but for the defense, giving them confidence to be more aggressive. If they know that the keeper's a brick wall, they will go out and attack the attackers. Ball is loose, a 50-50 ball here, and we have to wait and see if it's going to be a turnover. That's like a hot potato right there. So now Roncalli has 2 turnovers in their opening possessions here tonight, and now as we head the other way, it'll be the Pride. That's number 14, Ellie Wiltz, a senior, Mitty, a 5-year player in the game of lacrosse, and they'll work behind the cage. And they'll work 2 back there. A lot of teams like only working 1, and they'll try to dive several. First shot's going to be knocked away. Might have caught a piece of the post, but it will stay with the Pride. So I guess it kind of depends on what you like. If you want 1 behind the cage, let that player decide, go left, go right. If you work 2, the defenders always have to have their head on a swivel as we have a whistle and a stoppage of play. And it looks like we will have just a penalty on this one, not a free position shot. We'll look for that to be a big key here tonight, as well as the Pride able to set it up inside the 8-meter, and the shot and the score. And the Pride on the board first. That's going to be Kaylin Lauer, the senior midi, gets the Pride on the board first. Well, that was a great possession. Starting with the penalty, it was a good decision not to go for goal and take that shot. The defense of the Royals just kind of crowded pretty well, and then Lauer got that ball worked around almost like a screen motion in basketball. Went around the defense, found her spot, fired it into the low left corner. That is a picture-perfect possession for Bloomington after a lot of turnovers. You said it. The turnovers are going to be big, and they have already proven to be a factor. Yeah, that was the turnover that led to the goal. That penalty will go against the Pride. So now Roncalli, 2 turnovers already here in the first couple of minutes of play. We talk about, too, if you have a team, Graham, that has a lot of speed, as that's going to be a loose ball once again. If you have a team that has a lot of speed, that's going to kill another team. We have seen that a lot. And the one team I thought maybe was most impressive that we have seen this year, we saw Zionsville about a week and a half ago, and they played Cathedral, got at 8-0 because of their speed. Yeah, speed is so important. There's so many transition opportunities, especially with the turnovers when those start racking up. So if you can just outrace your opponent, get them breathing a little bit heavier, that can be huge for, again, just getting some spots, getting them tired. Roncalli trying to get it inside the 12-meter. They'll have to back it away. Good defense again by the Pride. Well, one thing about it, if you're going to play this game, and a lot of the things you do is that shot's going to be a save. Good job there in goal by Maddie Bovington-Friedman. Is if you're going to play at the half, the problem is you don't get many free looks. And so if you don't get a lot of speed in your lineup and try to get that transition, it can be awful hard to win games. Yeah, that's right. And we see a pretty quick transition move here from Bloomington. That one's not going to go, but
The speed is honestly the name of the game in lacrosse, especially when you can't be physical in girls lacrosse. In boys lacrosse, you can kind of body check someone if you get beat, but here that's not the case, so you have to move those feet quickly to stay in front of defenders, and then if you're attacking, to get in front of those defenders.
That last shot was Wills once again. That's a low shot. The save again by Marsh. And we'll head the other way past midfield. Tonight's game brought to you in part by Reynolds Farm Equipment, the leading equipment dealer serving farmers, homeowners, landscapers, and commercial contractors in the state of Indiana. Nothing runs like a deer. Give them a call, 317-849-0810. So you saw it right there again. Roncalli trying to get in transition. Unfortunately, they'll have to get into the critical scoring area with just their offense unable to make any moves from there. So now another loose ball. And a turnover again, Roncalli. That's going to be number 3.
Yeah, turnovers have been costly for Roncalli, but they're doing a good job sticking with it. They're not giving up on these. It's just that Bloomington has had a little bit more size and had a good ability to just pick it up before Roncalli can get there.
Boy, this kind of reminds me of a Little League game when all the players are kind of jumping around the ball right there and everybody's kind of moving around. You got to get some separation here.
Roncalli able to do so. That one just kind of fell in their lap. They got lucky. It bounced right to them, but now they got to take advantage.
They have not had a chance but one shot so far in this opening period of play, and once again they'll have to back it out and reset it.
I'd like to see them work more with Kaylin Lauer. She's got a lot of speed. She's been doing some good things for Roncalli.
They just can't find a lane to get anything inside that 12 down to the 8 meter. And one thing we know is that if you're going to shoot from 12 meters, that it's kind of like shooting a 3. Your percentages are going to go down quite a bit. So you got to find a way to get it down to the 8 meter or less.
They've had a couple cutters. They've had some good chances on some cuts, but the cutters haven't been able to receive the passes. They've just been a little bit off or maybe coming in a little bit too hot, but the looks have been there.
Well, they're really spreading it, aren't they? I mean, there's no one down, really maybe one player at the 8 meter. Other than that, everybody's on the outside.
Yeah, they're really taking their time, and Roncalli, not necessarily a team that's going to score a lot of goals. They're just going to try to outpace you and then hope that their defense can hold up.
First time we've seen somebody get inside near the 8 meter, and then it's knocked away. Good stick check and a turnover again. Roncalli, and that's going to be number 4 on the Royals here in the opening period.
And they're doing some good defense here. In the past, Bloomington has been able to just kind of find some open field and run ahead, but now with some good defense in the midfield, Roncalli able to get their defenders a little bit more time to get back, get set, and try to stop the Pride from pushing forward.
So back in the offensive zone, that is Kate Baird, one of the captains there for the Pride, and they'll go behind the cage once again. No divers really at this stage, which really, if you're going to score this, if you can have players dive and try to find that lane to the cage, that's exactly what you're looking for. Unfortunately, the ball squirts all the way out near midfield, and by the way, that is not a turnover yet, so Bloomington will hold on to it. Coming up to 4:20 to go in the opening period. It's 1-0. Pride with the lead over Roncalli. Trying to find an opening there on offense, but nothing available, so looks like we may have a timeout, and we will. Both offenses struggling a little bit early. 4:05 remaining. We'll be back here on IndianaSRN.
Aspen Creek Grill, we are a from-scratch concept with comfort fresh food. You can expect a world-class experience. We've got incredible specials, great service. Everything that we do here is made from scratch. We hand-cut all our steaks in-house. Bring your family. Come have some great food.
They say nice guys don't finish first. So maybe it's time to reconsider what it means to be first.
It's about being your best, but knowing you can be even better.
It's being present, but respectful of history.
It's donating something more valuable than money.
It's believing in yourself and something bigger.
It's coming from different families, but treating each other like brothers.
It's not just being a man, it's being a Mason.
Tonight's game brought to you in part by the Morales Group. They're in business to create a better future for you, your family, and for the community we share. They can match you with the right career or hire the right candidate for your company. If you'd like more information, give them a call, 317-472-7600. And just a reminder, tonight's broadcast is a copyright production of IndianaSRN and the Indiana Girls Lacrosse Association. Any use of audio or video without the expressed written permission of IndianaSRN and the INGLA is strictly prohibited. And by the way, Graham, with the way things are now, Graham gets an NIL deal if you end up using his image or anything. Is that true?
I guess,
little money on the side?
Yeah, you heard it here first.
Yeah.
That's right. Didn't make any NIL back in my golfing days, but hey,
yeah, well, listen,
now we can.
You can now.
Yeah.
That's all that matters. So after the timeout, we saw, and again, we can only speculate what the timeout was for. I think it's to get everybody kind of settled down because both offenses really struggling early, as that shot will go high and wide to the left, and it'll stay with the Pride. But they're just trying to get something going because offensively it's not good right now.
No, it's not. Both teams have looked a little skittish, afraid to dive bomb, kind of like you were talking about before the break. But there, first offensive play, we did see a player go straight for the goal, straight for the cage rather, and just didn't quite find it. I think we're going to see a lot more of that, more aggression, because like you said, it's just been slow.
Yeah, it has been slow early, and that's going to be another high pass as you see two players battling for it. Right now, this seems, at least in the games we have done, the most loose balls I have seen in the opening period of play, and it's just like nobody wants to pick it up, it seems like.
Yeah, you said hot potato. I think that's the greatest way to put it, because they get it for a second and then it just falls out. It doesn't seem like they can firmly hold possession, and that's what you got to do to win these games.
It's going to be a penalty. Lauer started to make her move. We have not had a free position opportunity yet, and this is going to be our first. That will be Kaylin Lauer, the attack midi. So our first free position of the night by the Bloomington Pride. Now they've moved her to the hash mark to the near side, which I think is more of a benefit for the keeper. She's going to shoot long, and that's going to be a nice save. It might have been a little bit wide to the right. But you saw Lauer only take one step. Generally, you see a player will take 3 or 4 steps and try to make it more of a one-on-one.
Yeah, I think she was a little bit afraid of the footsteps that were kind of cramming in, but well done by Addison Marsh. Again, key to the game, Addison Marsh, a phenomenal goalie playing in her 8th year. She closed off that near side of the goal, made Lauer go low, and then just worked hard, got that ball back into her safe zone where no one could attack her.
Well, unfortunately for Roncalli, they've turned it over once again. That's number 5. Tried to beat the Pride down the field as quickly as they could. Unfortunately, the pass went high, and so now the Pride will set it up once again. They're in the critical scoring area, and an opportunity again to try to go up 2-0. Stick check there against Baird, and a whistle. And let's see if they will have a yellow, and we will. And so now the Pride will be in a power play opportunity. Number 6 coming out. Ava Mahin out, the junior defensive player. So now you're in advantage right here if you're Bloomington. And now we got another stoppage of play.
Not sure what the second stoppage was for.
Maybe they lost the ball. Anybody got a ball around here anywhere?
I'd hope they've got a few down there.
Yeah.
We don't have any up in the booth.
I'm not sure. The officials kind of looking around like, okay.
Wow. Yeah, I think you're right. I think they lost the ball.
Anything that looks yellow, guys, you just pick it up and use it. I see one right there. The guy running the camera down there, he's not willing to go get it and throw it out there. Now, if that's the case, this is a first for me where we haven't been able to find a ball. Okay, it's taken them a little bit of time to get this set up. It is just again, the yellow, so no free position opportunity here for Bloomington. But again, they are one up here, so a power play opportunity. And this is where you also need to take advantage when you get these penalties. Ball is loose again. Really wasn't a shot that time, but picked up by the keeper there as Marsh able to scoop it up. We have another stoppage of play. Looks like we may have a hold on this one.
Oh, man.
That should be a free position chance here for the Pride.
That's a brutal break for Roncalli because they did a really good job of defending the start of that power play, but right now the Pride get the chance right back.
Hash mark to the left, the low shot, and the save. Excellent job on a low attempt there as Wiltz can't get it to go, but the Pride will hold on to it.
Pride have really done a good job holding possession. That's what's given them so many opportunities. And with that power play, Roncalli needs to play picture-perfect defense. You're going to see a lot of cutters from the Pride trying to get past someone, get inside.
Stick check from behind, and that's going to force a turnover. Number 3 now for the Pride, and they're going to have to hurry. Clock is coming up on 20 seconds, and another turnover by the Royals. And you can hear and feel the sense of urgency now for Bloomington. They'll slow it up and set it up just outside the 12. Double team on the ball, high pass, and another errant pass will go wide, and then another save. Excellent job. Addison Marsh, the save as the buzzer goes off at the end of period 1. It's the Pride leading this one 1-0. Big play here for Mount Vernon. Hurdle looking right, now over the middle, fires, and it's in there for a touchdown. What a throw. Boy, what a stick, huh? Side out, back to the middle, and guess what? You want a point on the other side, you go to Taylor Lewis.
Here's Freeman. Has an opening shot. Score!
Stafford around a screen. Skip pass. Mays with 3. Mays drive. Floater up and in at the horn.
Hand off and nice hole over the near side. 40, 35, 30. Block to the outside. 20, 15, 10, 5, and touchdown. And that's a big one right there. And finally, somebody gets on the board.
Can't make it to the game? We've got your back. Just go to www.IndianaSRN.org and tune in to all of the live action, or go to our on-demand service and relive your favorite moments.
Vertner Electric Incorporated provides professional commercial electrical contractor services to Indianapolis and surrounding communities. Locally owned and operated for over 30 years, our knowledge and experience make us the perfect choice for all your commercial electrical contractor needs. Contact us today.
We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, IndianaSRN. Hit the bell to get notifications for upcoming games and more. Watch as many games as you want, as many times as you want.
Back once again here at Roncalli. Tonight's game brought to you in part by Boilermaker Local 374. They represent highly skilled and motivated workers in field construction and metal fabrication in the state of Indiana. When you need a safe, dependable workforce, you can count on Boilermaker Local 374. We were talking during the break as we moved to period number 2, is passing is so important in this game that we have seen the ball just bouncing all over the place. What do these two teams need to do to kind of settle down a little bit and make sure their passes are on target now?
I think the big thing is just go short and sweet. Keep it simple. When you try to make it too complicated, that's when things can go wrong. And Roncalli actually had a couple opportunities in that first period with a couple cutters to maybe get a good look on goal. But again, it was the pass. The pass wasn't there. The pass made it too hard to get a shot off, and it led to a turnover. So make those passes short, concise, sweet, and hopefully that'll cut down the turnovers for both sides.
Now, we've seen the ball actually sailing a little bit on everybody so far tonight, which is a little bit unusual. See who's going to win this draw control. You know, one thing about playing on the turf, which we will give these young ladies some credit here. That thing will bounce all over the place, as you've seen.
Yeah, the turf, it's like bouncing it off of a hardwood floor. It just kind of goes flying.
So your reaction time better be a little better, right?
Exactly.
First draw control, though, won by the Pride, and they lose it on a turnover. That's going to be their fourth. 6 now by Roncalli, 4 by Bloomington. And in transition, critical scoring area opportunity here now for Roncalli. They made a couple of changes in their lineup. And another turnover the other way. It was another bad pass, number 7.
Micaiah Pearson did such a good job for Roncalli there, getting the steal and then running it all the way over to the offensive half. But again, the pass tried something a little too difficult. And again, a turnover. Those are killer.
That is the big stat of the day so far, inside the 12. And now the dive toward the goal, but a stick check. Ball comes loose, and a second turnover in a row now for the Pride.
The Royals have a really strong defense. That's what they pride themselves on. It's hard for them to outscore you, but if they can out-defend you, that's how they're going to get their wins. And Bloomington doing a good – I like the dive bomb. We only saw one in that first period, but I like the aggression. I like that they're coming out with a little bit more fierceness.
Yeah, I got to find that lane when it's available. And the turn and the shot and the score looked like it was number 7, Natalia Neva, who's an attacker, a senior, and she just turned and scored, and it's now tied at 1 apiece.
That was really well done. Probably the first time that the Royals have really had a good chance with a player inside. And just the turn, the shot, it was all on target. Maddie Bovington-Friedman, again, a phenomenal goalie for the Pride, but she was just a little bit out of position. Spin, shot, corner. Man, that was top bins. And a very, very big first goal for the Royals, trying to find some momentum.
You know how many times you see a player, especially at a higher level of lacrosse, doing it over the shoulder, and it kind of looked like that a little bit.
Yeah.
Goalie has no idea it's coming, and I've been watching some games at the men's level, and those guys are nasty at that.
Oh, it's so good.
Draw control opportunity. It'll be the Royals picking up their second. So far, we've only had 3 draw controls tonight, only 2 free position shots, both by the Pride, but now we're tied at 1 apiece. See what Roncalli can now take the lead. Unfortunately, they turn it over.
And again, the pass. The pass was a little bit low, and then they couldn't reel it in, so that bounced off the turf, a weird bounce, and it's right into the jaws of the Pride.
So once again, in the offensive zone now for the Pride, nothing there, and so they'll slow it up. You know, I kind of relate this a lot to high school basketball or basketball in general, even at the collegiate level. A lot of teams try to force it. If there's nothing there, best thing to do is just come out and set it back up again.
That's exactly right. There's not a shot clock counting you down, so you can take as much time as you want to back up, reset, find that angle. But we haven't seen these two teams do that necessarily.
Well, when I become Supreme Emperor, there will be a shot clock in high school basketball and high school lacrosse.
I like it.
Nick, our producer, knows that. He knows that Supreme Emperorism is coming to my way soon. So. Boy, again, when you talk about getting something clean, now that was almost into the sun, it appeared, and another turnover for the Pride. If you can get a deflection, or if your pass isn't good, the whole offense just seems to go south.
Yeah, that's right, and we just saw that again. An errant pass leads to a turnover, and the Pride get it right back in their offensive half. But yes, the passes, when they try to do a little too much or it's just off the mark, it kind of just all falls apart, and it is made harder by the sun, definitely. That last pass for sure. The shadows are getting pretty long here.
Yeah.
And that's going to make it a whole lot harder to track down the yellow ball.
Yeah, one thing about it, too, if you're the keeper looking to the sun, that's got to be tough, too.
Oh, yeah.
So after the Pride get it back, now they're setting way beyond the 12-meter, which is very difficult to try to score unless you have a really, really good player that can, as we got a whistle there, can really fire that ball from that deep. You're generally not going to get many scores from there. Pride had their 7th turnover. We have a yellow, might have been a high stick to the head area, so now Roncalli will be in a power play. That was number 20, which is Eve Arnold, one of their better players.
Yeah, that's a big whistle and a big card because Roncalli can move pretty quickly now as they are, try to get themselves in position with Eve Arnold, a very talented defensive midfielder off the field.
This might be their best play getting downfield that quick into the offensive zone now for the Royals, and unfortunately unable to do anything with it there. So again, they still have one up here in a power play opportunity. Let's see if they can take advantage of it here as we come up on 7:35 in the second quarter. Unfortunately, they turn it over for the 10th time. Well, that's big right there if you're the Pride.
It is. Now Bloomington has some room to run, and it just kind of fell apart for Roncalli. They couldn't get anything going around the perimeter.
When they could get a shorthanded goal right here, it would be huge. But we are now back to even strength, or no, we're not. We're still a little bit yet to go. The Pride are keeping an eye on that clock. As you see, we can see the coach kind of watching to get her in there quickly, as Arnold's still out right now.
And Eve Arnold just stood up. Looks like she's about to come in.
There you go. The shot over the top and the score. Number 24, Addison Green.
Score for Bloomington.
A shorthanded goal there for the Pride, and now they lead it 2-1.
Well, that's a great goal for Bloomington to have, because they were a player down, and they were still able to get that one past and through the cage. And Addison Green started her career as a defender, has moved to a midfield position, and for good reason. That was such a good move. Kept that ball nice and high, and turns, shot, got a bounce. That was picture perfect.
Boy, you love getting a goal, number one. When you get shorthanded, I mean, for a team to get that momentum back, that's got to be really big.
Oh, so big. And now you've got Eve Arnold back on the field, so that had just changed everything in the blink of an eye, because it looked like Roncalli absolutely had the upper hand to take the lead.
Yeah, they certainly did, and unfortunately it was another one of those turnovers as the ball all the way into the offensive zone now for the Pride, and they have a chance now to go up 3-1. Roncalli tied it moments ago, but now they're back on defense once again. At the 8-meter, the shot and the save. Excellent job in goal once again, as Bovington Friedman able to get the nice save.
But then again, goes right out of play, and it's going to be Bloomington possession. That is just killer. Addison Marsh made such a great play there. Huge save, too, prevent that from going up 3-1. But the pass was off, led her player a little bit too much, and Liz Roller couldn't track it down.
Graham, 11 turnovers. I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, but that's way too many here in the first half.
That is way too many. That's given Bloomington so many opportunities, especially when the Pride have done a good job holding possession for longer than Roncalli.
Pride tried that pick play here on the left side. Now they're outside the 12-meter, and that might be another yellow. Let's wait and see. It's going to be a penalty against Roncalli. I'm going to say it will not be a yellow here. I almost thought that stick was a little high toward the head area. So now the Pride back on the attack again, but a very weak shot over the middle, and the save once again. So back over again to Roncalli.
That's the big player for Roncalli, Addison Marsh. Keeper has been so solid. Again, playing for Marian University next year, her 8th season. They need her to be so stout and so strong, which she has been, but now the offense has to start cooking.
In transition, back the other way. Tonight's game brought to you in part by Piper Logistics. For more than 2 decades, the seasoned professionals at Piper have been the trusted allies for all your inventory management, warehousing, fulfillment, and transportation needs. Give them a call, 317-396-1023. Roncalli again in the critical scoring area. Nice move to the inside, the low shot, and the save once again. Good effort, though, but again, when you're looking at Addison Marsh in goal, she's been hard to beat tonight.
That was such a good move from Ella Holtz. Went a little bit too low, though, and Maddie Bovington Friedman made a great play.
As we head back the other way, the Pride back in the offensive zone with 4 minutes remaining here in the first half, and a low-scoring game to this point. Move to the inside. Ball comes out of the netting that time. Maya Poole, the sophomore attacker, unable to hold on to it, but we're going to have a free position opportunity here, the third of the night now for the Pride. And it will be Poole from the hash mark left. Key here is get a jump on that whistle.
That's right. Roncalli needs to get a really quick start.
The wind and the fire wide to the right. So it was a shot, not necessarily a shot on goal because it was so wide to the right. But again, the Pride will keep it. And once they set it up here in the critical scoring area, they have a chance again once they get inside the 12-meter. But there's a triple team. How about that?
Yeah, they do not want that player getting any closer to the crease.
Nice move to the inside. Ball comes out again, but the Pride at the right place, right time will hold on to it.
It's just been the little things for the Royals. I mean, you talk about the turnovers, but if you look at draw controls, it's been split. It's been 2-2 so far. So if they haven't turned over the possession even half as much as they have, they'd be in a really good spot. They just haven't been able to hold that possession. But if they can keep winning those draw controls and try to make that maybe an inflated number compared to Bloomington, they could come back into this ball game.
The fourth free position opportunity now for the Pride. Not a great angle from the right side. The move to the inside and the save off the shot. It was Eve Arnold trying to make it a 3-1 lead. But another good save, and now Roncalli back on offense with only 2 minutes and change to go.
And I don't like the long ball there. That's how they give it right back to the Pride, but Roncalli sticking with it. We saw a lot of this in the first period.
By the way, it's still loose.
Yeah, and a foul. That's going to give it to the Pride. So, man, would have loved to see Addison Marsh just throw it short to one of her defenders, try to set something up, run it up the field, but because when they've tried those long balls, it just hasn't worked.
Yeah, it hasn't worked even in the short game. Wonder why you think it might work in the long game, right? So now the Pride will set it up with 1.5 minutes to go. Tonight's game brought to you in part by Dynamark. If you're looking to elevate your brand, choose Dynamark. Your one stop for all your print, signs, and promo products. They've been in service for the last 50 years in Indianapolis. If you'd like more information, give them a call, 317-328-2555. Pride, the shot wide, but a foul before the shot attempt, and looks like we will have a free position opportunity again. It's now a 5-0 lead in that category for the Pride. Clock stops at 1:11. This would be big right here. Look at it both ways. If you don't give up the goal here, as Lauer will take the shot, winds, fires, and scores, and it is now 3-1. I was about ready to say, Graham, that if you get the stop here, that's big because you're probably going to halftime only down by 1, but on the other side, now it's a 3-1 lead.
Yeah, when Kaylin Lauer has that ball in that kind of position, it's rare that she misses. Let's say that she scored on that opportunity earlier in the ball game. So well done. Goes low, almost skips it off the turf. Not in a position where it could bounce and take a hop into Addison Marsh's position. Bloomington Pride, it's been night and day, their ability to get those free play opportunities. And if it's been because they're not scared to dive bomb. They've been free and willing to go move inside, and that has created so many extra chances for them.
Well, on the other side, then Roncalli's going to have to find a way, number one, to limit the opposing free position opportunities, but their defender is going to have to stop everybody coming down that lane, because if they don't, there's going to be more shots inside that 8-meter. Player down there for Roncalli. You very rarely see a player go down. There's, as you said, the girls' women's game is not as physical as the men's, so anytime that they're playing for the safety of the players, you're going to make that call.
Right, that's exactly right, and it's a no-brainer. If a player goes down, there's going to be a whistle. Just hope that if you're the player that made the other go down, it's not going to be a yellow or a red.
Ball comes loose. Turnover again for Roncalli. We have them unofficially for 13 now here in the first half.
Now Bloomington with room to run. They're a little bit quicker than Roncalli, so this is danger territory for the Royals.
Yeah, they have to hurry knowing the clock is coming toward the end of this first half of play. Unable to hold on to it cleanly behind the cage, and now with only 10 seconds to go, can they get a shot off? Ball squirts through, and then the shot, and it is going to be a nice save as it comes loose. Roncalli able to pick it up, and we go to halftime. 2 unanswered goals by the Pride of Bloomington. They head to the locker room, leading this one 3-1.
Calling officials cheaters or corrupt.
Insulting referees.
Threatening officials.
Berating young umpires, learning the ropes.
Violent language in the stands.
Screaming at a referee in the parking lot. It's not a game.
You want a piece of equipment you can trust, one that's easy to use. No matter the size of the job, you want to create a feeling worthwhile, something you can use for every job. For over 60 years, Reynolds has been a community staple, ensuring our customers powerful implements, top quality care and service. You need something that's in it for the long haul. Visit Reynolds Farm Equipment, your hometown John Deere dealer, today at reynoldsfarmequipment.com.
Can't get to a computer? Then we've got you covered. Just go to the IndianaSRN app and stay up to date with all of your favorite teams. You can watch live coverage or relive the experience with our on-demand service.
Hey, thanks for joining us tonight. We consider it a privilege to have you as one of our listeners and viewers. If you'd like to see more content just like tonight, just hit the donate button. Every dollar that you donate will go right back into more games right here on IndianaSRN, which means more games for you. It's IndianaSRN, where you always have a front row seat.
Looking to elevate your brand? Choose Dynamark, your local one-stop shop for all your print, signs, promo products, apparel, and mailing services. Serving Indianapolis for over 50 years. Dynamark, where strong relationships are built through exceptional service.
Thinking about what to do after high school? Consider a career with Boilermakers Local 374. As a Boilermaker apprentice, you'll earn while you learn. We offer excellent wages and benefits, and as part of our no-cost hands-on apprenticeship program, you'll learn from the best in state-of-the-art training centers and on the job. Become a union Boilermaker and get on your way to a great career. Find out more, visit www.local374.org or call 219-845-1000.
We encourage you to follow us on Twitter at IndianaSRN. Find upcoming games, video highlights, and much more. Follow us now at IndianaSRN.
Back here at Roncalli High School. By the way, there are several other games going on tonight in either 2A or 1A girls lacrosse. Perry Meridian is playing at Southport. Munster is at Penn tonight. Homestead at Warren Central. It'll be Heritage Christian at Guerin. Bishop Chittard will play at Zionsville. Of course, we have seen Zionsville a couple of times this year. They are very, very good. Cathedral plays at Westfield. Park Tudor at Fishers. Chesterton at South Bend St. Joseph. Noblesville at Hamilton Southeastern, and Evansville Central is at Evansville Bosse. Unofficial numbers in the first half, each team with 2 draw controls, though not very many clean draw controls. Free position shots, 5 for the Pride. So far the Royals have none. On the turnover department, 13 by Roncalli and 7 by the Pride, and so far Lauer leading all scores. She has 2 goals, got the first one at 9:32, and then she finished it out with the second one in the second quarter at 1:08. This Royal team, they're going to need to get some more rubber on cage. I mean, bottom line is they just have not had enough shots. The turnover is going to be the other big key, and I know you'll talk about that as we go throughout the rest of the night, but they're going to have to find a way to clean those 2 things up if they're going to get. Now, they're not out of it, only down by 2, but they've got to get something going on a positive nature.
Yeah, I think it all starts with trying to get it inside. They just haven't been able to get that ball near the crease at all. It's been all perimeter movement. They haven't found cutters, and when they have had cutters in the area, the passes have been off target. That's something that was the big theme of those first 2 periods, was the passes weren't there for Roncalli. They were either short, long, or when they were on target, the receiver couldn't quite get it. So they've got to do those little things well, and I just love to see them dive bomb. Maybe not find a cutter, just let the person with the ball go and see if they can do a solo type effort.
That might be their best bet right now. By the way, those 13 turnovers, that's what Keith Myers averaged when he was playing basketball at Howell High School. 13 turnovers per game by himself.
And the 2 draws are your 2 points that he averaged.
Well, if he was lucky. Most of the time the 2 meant the amount of drinks he got for the rest of the team, because he was more of the water boy then. So here we go as the draw control won by the Royals. And as you mentioned, I mean, they got down there quickly. See if they can get their first score, as that's going to be shot wide to the right. And it looks like it's going to go over to the Pride. So that's kind of maybe what they talked about a little bit, is let's get down there quick and let one player do the work.
Yeah, I love that effort. That's exactly what they need to do more of. Caroline Benson, number 21 for the Royals, got it pretty much around the 12-meter and just went. She just turned, burned. The shot was a little bit wide, but that is exactly what they need to do more of.
Yeah, get that Pride defense maybe back on their heels a little bit here in the third, but now we transition into the offensive zone now for the Pride, leading at 3-1, trying to get their 10th win of the season. Beautiful night here at Bob Tully Field. In fact, you could not beat this night. Very light breeze, not too warm, but there's a turnover. That's number 8 now for the Pride.
Yeah, that's rare. We didn't see much of that from the Pride, where there wasn't much pressure. They just kind of lost it. And now Roncalli with some room to run, I was going to say, but it just squeaked out of bounds. Micaiah Pearson couldn't reel it in.
You know, a lot of times it reminds me in baseball, if you're like a shortstop, second baseman, third baseman, they always tell you, don't let the bounce play you. I think that's what happened right there on that last play. The young lady here on the near side kind of let it play her instead going and getting it. So.
Yeah, I think the turf played a part in it as well. We talked about the weird bounces it takes off the turf. Sometimes it's unpredictable, so you really have to play the ball aggressive on turf and go get it, like you said.
By the way, Graham we just found out, I had not worked a game with Graham before, but you're from Los Angeles. You're not a Lakers fan, are you?
I am.
Oh, Lordy.
I am.
You're not a LeBron fan, are you?
No.
Oh, thank you.
I'm not, actually.
More of a Magic Johnson type?
Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant? I'll take that. Shot wide left. Good attempt there by Addison Green. Yeah, if you were saying LeBron, I'd have to kick you out of the box.
That's fair. I'd accept that. I'm wondering, what about you from Wyoming?
Yeah, weird, isn't it?
Yeah. What team? You're, not a Lakers fan, clearly.
Oh no, it's Boston.
Boston.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah. Got to be the Celtics. You know, I own. Yeah. Well, no, I own stock, so I'm one of the few owners of a NBA franchise working for this company. That's a shot that might have been a stick check Yeah, that's why I do this. I don't get paid any money for this. I make all my money off the Celtics.
Off the Boston Celtics.
Yeah,
that's a good way to make
money.
It is.
It's all just a hobby now for me. We're coming up on 9 minutes. We were talking before we got into the second half as the long pass finally getting its target, but then there's 4 blue jerseys there. The shot high, wide right is how you ended up going from Los Angeles all the way to Kenyon College, which that's a long trip, by the way, in case you're wondering if you ever drive that.
I never did.
No?
Thankfully, no.
Flew the whole time, did you?
Flew the whole time. No direct flights from Columbus to Los Angeles, though.
No?
No, I couldn't believe it.
That's terrible. But the good news is now you're down in Bloomington and a broadcast major, I'm assuming, right?
That's right.
And so Graham will be making his debut on the major network sometime soon. We're counting on it. So,
hopefully.
All right, we will go back the other way as we have a 50-50 ball. Neither team getting a whole lot of looks at the goal so far here in the third. Today's game brought to you in part by Officially Human. Their mission is to restore respect to game officials, recognize them as authorities on the field and the court. I'd like you to participate in good sportsmanship. If we don't have officials, we don't play. Nice pass to the inside, but the turn looked for the ball. Unfortunately, the ball was behind number 32, which was Rebecca Arnold, and she shot nothing but air. So now it'll be Roncalli setting it up just outside the 8-meter and then pushed back by that Pride defense. Nice turn to the inside, the bounce, and the score.
Goal for Roncalli.
Looked like number 24. That was Mariana Hauser. And now it's 3-2, and boy, they needed that one.
They really did. Mariana Hauser, a good option, too, for Roncalli to get going. A freshman, but she's got a lot of talent. Head coach TJ Marsh said that they are very excited to see what she can bring in the future. But the bounce shot, that was very, very well done. Again, turf, it's hard to judge those bounces, and she put it pretty shallow on that bounce, so it had a lot of air time after it hit the turf and just threw off the keeper and Maddie Bovington-Friedman a little bit too much. Big second goal there for Roncalli to get him back in this game.
You know, Graham, I think that might be the way the Royals, if they can keep the turnovers, is let's bounce that thing in there a lot more, and then instead of trying to go anything waist high.
Yeah, I think it's a good strategy, kind of like water polo. The more that you can use the surface and spin it off, the more unpredictable it becomes.
So draw controlled by Roncalli, and you feel maybe they have a little momentum. Ball is knocked out and turned over by the Royals. You can kind of tell they've decided, like what you said a little bit ago, Graham, is that they want to get it and go. I mean, that's maybe their best bet of the rest of the night.
I think it is, and I don't mind those turnovers where you just go straight in and then it gets knocked loose. That's a much better turnover than passing it and not being able to handle the pass.
Yeah, I thought maybe right there with Micaiah Pearson made that move to the inside that if she's right-handed, that would have been a perfect shot right there. But we have a free position shot for the first time tonight, now for the Royals. And it will be Pearson who will put it in play. The shot and the save. Boy, nice play there in goal once again for the Pride, as Bovington-Friedman able to get the save, and unfortunately they turn it over again.
And all of a sudden, Roncalli controlling possession.
That thing is hard to pick up right now, and neither team able to pick it up until right there, so that's going to be a turnover again for Roncalli, and here come the Pride.
That's big for momentum for the Pride. If Roncalli was able to take that and get a good look off, it really could have changed the narrative of this game, but instead Bloomington can push.
Wiltz went back to the inside, ball loose again. Who's going to come up with this one is finally it'll be Roncalli. 12 turnovers now by the Pride, and unfortunately it's going to go back the other way.
That was a really good play from the Pride. Addie Raychick doing a good job just smacking the stick of Roncalli player that was moving forward. Bloomington, their defense has been really solid.
You know, Graham, one thing about it too is I think if I were maybe Roncalli, and I have 18 turnovers, though I do want to hustle down and get into scoring position quickly. If it's not there, let's just calm down a little bit. Take your time. Nice move to the inside. The shot wide right. It will stay with the Pride unless it goes out of bounds, and it appears it did.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Your point on them just resetting. I think that you can kind of strike a balance between attacking, seeing if there's an angle, and then if not, pulling back. You don't have to go pedal to the metal every single time and leave it all out there. I think that Roncalli can kind of test the waters, like you're saying, but we just haven't seen that from them. It's kind of been all or nothing. I'd like to see if they can maybe bring a little bit more of that maturity and that decision-making into the rest of this period in the fourth.
Well, Roncalli is going to take it back the other way single-handedly up until the last moment past midfield. Clock coming up on the 4-minute mark here in period number 3. It's still a 1-goal lead for the Pride, and now Roncalli will settle here. The pass to the inside, the low shot, nice save again. Well, they tried the bounce shot again. Roncalli able to hold on to it, though. But again, holding on to the pass and receiving it has really been a key tonight for Roncalli, just receiving it clean.
Yeah, it's been a struggle, but I like the low shot, the bounce shot. Like you said, it gave him a good shot. And right now, the passes have been a little bit cleaner. They've been able to create inside.
That's going to go against Roncalli. So though they put a lot of pressure on the Pride defense, able to come back, and we'll head the other way.
Bloomington's pressure has just put Roncalli in a really, really tough position. Every time that there's a little bit of a scramble for the ball and the Roncalli Royals don't really have it solidly in their possession, it seems like Bloomington is there, ready to pounce every single time.
They certainly are. So now, in the critical scoring area opportunity, high shot, and a little bit too high there for Ellie Wiltz.
But again, they get a second chance. There it is. The second the ball's on the ground, it seems like there are 2 or 3 Bloomington Pride players ready to scoop it up.
Now the Pride once again. And the turn, and that's going to be in there for the goal. Just a little bit high to the left.
Goal for
and the goal, number 42, that time for the Pride. That's going to be Zoe Gray.
And a really good goal this time. Bloomington going with the bounce themselves, trying to get a little bit past and into the head of Madison Marsh, the goalie, right in front of her right foot. And it bounces, I think it just went right underneath it. Madison Marsh has had a lot of phenomenal saves, really good efforts, but that time just a little bit late to the move. Zoe Gray put it right underneath and right past. That is a big goal for Bloomington as they look to stay in front.
Yeah, especially when you consider goals are hard to come by in this one tonight.
Yeah.
That could be a decider. Draw control. Let's see who'll pick this one up. And we wait. It'll be Roncalli. They lead that category 5-2 as they're going to quickly hurry into the offensive zone. And the shot a little bit wide to the left. They went low once again. That's now 3 straight.
It's all Micaiah Pearson. The junior has done such a good job of using her speed. Probably the fastest play that we've seen on the Roncalli side. She's used her speed to get into the crease area, but just hasn't been able to find it. It's been a little bit wide every single time.
Roncalli, the first team to the end line to keep the possession, but then an errant pass all the way to the far side.
They're keeping it alive. Roncalli doesn't quit on these possessions. Just a question of how is Bloomington going to respond.
Clock under 2 minutes. That was Lauren Miller who was hustling to the sideline to keep the possession there for the Royals. Here's Engel. Boy, now you see 3 blue jerseys. They always say the most dangerous person is the one with the ball, and that's how the Pride are playing that one. But then the shot and the score.
Goal for Roncalli.
That's number 2, which is Micaiah Pearson. And now it's 4-3.
Yeah, it's getting interesting. The Royals are starting to find their strategy just a little bit more and finding ways to execute. Micaiah Pearson had a really good look off of the draw control, and this time she bounces it again, goes low, was a little bit closer. Bloomington wasn't in position, and the junior midfielder took full advantage. But that was a really good effort from Haley Engel to create that opportunity. She's a phenomenal attacker for Roncalli, but hasn't really had her opportunities. That time she creates for a teammate, and a big, big third goal.
Well, they make it now a 1-goal lead. Looks like we may come right down the stretch here in that fourth period. Roncalli with 2 goals here in the second half. And they've been able to win the draw control battle so far tonight, unofficially leading at 5-2. And they've cut down on the turnovers. They've had a couple of key turnovers, had 11 in the first half so far. Here in the second half, they have 7. And draw control won again by the Royals.
That's going to be a big number to look back to at the end of the game. As much as turnovers, the draw controls have given Roncalli a lot of extra opportunities.
Unfortunately, the high pass and the turnover, we just talked about that, and the Royals turn it over right there. Coming up on 60 seconds remaining. And now the Pride trying to get into scoring position. Can they get a shot off here in the last 50 seconds? Ball comes loose again. Able to cradle and run is so critical, as you know, in lacrosse. And a lot of times I think that players end up thinking that thing's just going to stay in there. Well, you've got to be able to cradle and run, and sometimes it doesn't work out for you. Something you might want to work on in practice.
Yeah, it's doing the little things. You got to make sure that you keep possession of that ball when you can. But we've seen a couple times where a couple players on both sides have seemed to get a little comfortable, a little complacent, and then it's just knocked right out of their stick from behind. So I think you're absolutely right.
Well, there's another turnover for Roncalli. Unfortunately, they had a chance with about 10 seconds remaining to get into scoring position, and unfortunately, they will not, and that's going to run out time here in the third quarter. As that ball squirts loose once again, we head to the fourth. The Bloomington Pride lead it by 1.
From warehousing to transportation and everything in between, Piper Logistics does it all. Centrally located, Piper Logistics has 2 warehouses in Indianapolis and a warehouse in Cincinnati, Ohio. Piper Logistics houses over 1 million square feet. Along with our transportation department, we can provide service to half the United States markets.
Get a gator that will get you where you need to go. Something you can get in and go with plenty of space. Be ready to tackle any terrain, large or small. When you choose Reynolds, you choose reliability. A guaranteed great customer experience and relationship from the moment you walk in. Come in and see for yourself or visit reynoldsfarmequipment.com.
Oh, by the way, I was just going to say here, they had the wave going on across the way. Did you see that?
I did not.
Yeah. Haven't seen that in years. That's a, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, or 13-person wave. You can't beat that. Tonight's game brought to you in part by Family Source Insurance. Pat Cherry is your independent agent representing Ohio Mutual Insurance. Give him a call for coverage at 317-894-7000. By the way, don't forget, tomorrow we will be at Victory Field in Indianapolis for the IU and Ball State baseball game. That'll be at 6 o'clock. So we'll be simulcasting that on IndianaSRN and Big Ten Plus. You want to really see my salary go up, take a look at that. That's right there. That's probably $1,000 right there, just doing college baseball.
That's going to be a good game, too. They played each other once already in a midweek. Ball State hung pretty tough. They took an early lead. Indiana, their offense was pretty bad. Ball State's pitching was there, but the Hoosiers were able to come back. And, I mean, with Devin Taylor, the way that guy's playing right now, oh, man, it's going to be fun.
He's the number 13 prospect for the Major League Baseball draft this year.
Yeah. Broke the all-time Indiana home run record against Maryland.
It appears, and I could be wrong after doing some research, that IU's pitching if they had some really good pitching, they could be as good as anybody in the country.
Your research is correct. Your research has not led you astray, that is for sure. The bullpen for Indiana has been a struggle, and now the starters even. There have been a couple starters that slipped up. It's going to be interesting come tournament time, especially with those West Coasters.
Yeah.
Oregon, UCLA.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun tournament.
It's got to be neat, though, being from California, that you have all those teams that used to be in the Pac are now here in the Big Ten.
I loved the Pac.
Yeah.
I was a Pac-12er. I loved that conference. So I'm sad to see it go, but, I mean, the football we got this year from the Big Ten was unbelievable.
It certainly has made a difference. I'm still waiting for him to change it from the Big 10 to the Big 18. Because the numbers don't add up somewhere in there. So, all right, here we go. Final period of play. Royals looking for their 7th draw control here in this one, but they trail it by 1. This has not been automatic tonight either. That'll be the Pride picking up their 3rd. I say automatic. Well, I was going to say 3rd, but eventually it's going to be Roncalli getting the possession. And they quickly, this has been the difference, and we talked about in the 3rd, the difference has been their ability to get into that scoring zone in the critical scoring area very quickly, though that shot was wide to the right.
Yeah, just being able to create chances. That's what's given Roncalli this second breath, this new life, is that they've had that speed and they've had the eye and the knack for finding little wiggle room and finding a zone and a lane. But Bloomington, they've stayed ahead. They've done a good job of not letting it get too out of hand.
Well, that's going to be their 14th turnover, another high pass. Kate Baird unable to run it down here on the near sideline. So now the Royals back on offense, chance to tie. Of course, we'll keep an eye on that clock and how many opportunities will the Royals have. I know we got a lot of time to play, but if Bloomington can run some clock once they get possession, that's going to be the key. The dive to the inside, but nothing there. High pass again, and here we go. Turnover, Royals.
And again, it's the pass. Roncalli's had success when they just force it inside instead of passing. Bloomington South, they've got some speedy players.
You know, and I'd mentioned, we talk about those turnovers. It's the unforced errors that really drive you nuts as a coach, because you're like, wait a minute, this is stuff we work on in practice. If it's a hustle turnover, you don't mind it so much, but we've seen a lot of unforced errors.
Yeah, passing has not been there. A couple times where players have just kind of gotten a little lackadaisical with where they're holding their stick, and it's been knocked out of their possession. Those are absolutely going to come back to bite them. I mean, you look at those turnover numbers, 21 and 18. That is far too many.
Way too many for sure. The nice pass inside the 8-meter, but that defense forcing the offense outside, which is a great job. Mejias Dinverno was the player that was looking to score, got pushed outside. And so now the Pride, once again, high pass, and it's going to be a turnover eventually right there. That's going to be number 15 now by the Pride.
Liz Roller did a really good job of intercepting that pass. She saw it going the entire way and was able to pickpocket it. But again, they just give it right back.
Wow. And when you have momentum, and I thought maybe Roncalli had that momentum in that 3rd quarter, those things that'll suck the life out of you.
Yeah, that kills it. Takes the air out of the building for sure. And Bloomington Pride has kind of fed off that energy, fed off the ability to force Roncalli into turnovers. That has powered their offense.
You know, a lot of fans may wonder, why is it the Bloomington Pride? It's because it's 3 different schools that are playing. It's Bloomington South, Bloomington North, and Edgewood?
Yes.
I think is the other team.
Yeah.
So they've co-opted, and we were kind of talking about that a little bit ago before we went on the air. Even at high school football, they're thinking about co-opting some of the smaller programs because they don't have enough players.
Right. I think it's a cool way to form teams, especially with these smaller sports like lacrosse.
How about that shot? The turn and the score. That'll be Ellie Wiltz. So Wiltz will give the Pride now a 2-goal lead.
And it was just a great solo effort from Ellie Wiltz. Moved around the 8-meter, it looked like, and then had her angle, took her shot, and absolutely buried it. Moving to her right, 3 Roncalli defenders in the way, create some space. Great help there from Zoe Gray, her teammate, to almost set a screen. It was kind of like an on-ball screen, gave her some space. And now Bloomington working with a little bit of padding.
Yeah, mentioning that co-op as you were ready to finish your thought there, it's probably not a bad idea if you're a program that just struggles getting kids out for football, but you got guys who want to play. At least they get to play, right?
Right, at least they get to play. The thing that you were talking about, which I think is true, is a lot of these kids are now going to have to travel a ways to play and to practice, which is unfortunate. But, I mean, as long as you're playing, I think that's all that these players, these kids really care about.
The only thing I'd mention, too, is that maybe the state of Indiana will at some point think about, like they do in a lot of programs out west and in the Midwest areas, is play 8-man and 6-man football, which might be a good thought.
Right, yeah, that could be very effective. That way you eliminate the need for travel, which especially in some areas could be very, very helpful. But it's gonna take a lot of time, I feel like, for those to be in effect. Yeah,
the IHSA will certainly feel that you've got to prove they can be done in a lot of ways. So, boy, we had a turnover the other way. Roncalli down by 2, and they don't seem to be the same offense that they were in the third, and everybody just having a really difficult time holding on to it.
Yeah, they've lost that ability to attack. They're not finding those lanes anymore. They've been pushed out to the perimeter, which I think is just credit to Bloomington Pride's defense. They've done such a good job pushing them out.
Yeah, they will double team. A lot of times you see a player try to dive and maybe make a spin move, but unfortunately there's always somebody there in a blue jersey. Here's a chance right here, but the pass intercepted. That is 23, and Graham, I'm pretty sure that head coach for the Royals is going to say, boy, we got to cut that down.
Yeah, I think that's going to be what they work on in practice in the coming weeks, because they don't have a home game. They've only got one more home game, so it's going to be a tough remaining schedule for them. They've got to crack down on that and make sure that they can get that home game, which will be Senior Day, coming up on April 28th.
And we're not too far away from that.
No.
High pass to the inside, the turn, and then losing it, and another turnover the other way. That is now, 17 for the Pride. Now we're getting to an area here, Graham, where you're down 2, and we only have 6 minutes remaining. So now we're probably thinking we have a green card that has come out. Who did they get on this one? I did not see who that was called on, but that's going to go, I believe, against the Royals. So now the possession, I was about ready to say, now you're thinking about how many, I always look at it this way, how many full field possessions do I have? Once I get it back, it's going to take me probably 35, 40 seconds to get back, set it up. How many more do I have with a lift? What, 5:40 to go? Not many.
Not many, that's right. They've got to be nearly perfect, and the defense has to fuel all of this. The defense needs to force a quick turnover here, which they've done a good job of in the third period. They did a good job of, but the fourth, Bloomington has really looked more comfortable.
Well, the Pride almost turned it over again. You kind of hear the players for Roncalli saying, we got to go get that ball. And if you're now the Pride, you can waste some clock. Again, no shot clock in high school lacrosse, so you can work off a minute and a half if you want to.
That's right, and Roncalli did go and force that turnover. Really good aggression, but now it's got to turn into a possession.
That'll be the now 18th turnover by the Pride. Here come the Royals in the critical scoring area, and they will score on the run. Excellent job there by Alex Gorski.
What a shot from Gorski. It was a tough angle. She really got cut off, and it seemed like Maddie Bovington-Friedman in goal had the advantage there. But the angle, the unwillingness to quit goes right by Rebecca Arnold and just swishes it right past Bovington-Friedman. A very, very impressive shot and very tough angle.
Boy, no kidding about that. Now the Royals, who again have won the draw controls at 7-2, they get this one, and all of a sudden now that idea of not having enough time is out the window.
Right. Big draw control here.
More offense in the second half than what we saw in the first half for sure, and it will be the Royals eventually coming up with it.
And this is who they want with it. Micaiah Pearson is so quick, has already scored.
Yeah, but there's 3 blue jerseys there.
They've learned. They've learned. They know she's quick.
Bloomington's almost like there's nobody else on the field. Let's just go after her.
Yeah.
So, but that's respect right there. The high pass, unfortunately, goes over everybody to the near side, but picked up by Grace Lux, the senior. As we come up on 4 minutes remaining. And we have a whistle, and that's going to go against the Pride. It'll just be a foul call here, so no free position opportunity. But more importantly, the Royals will keep it as the clock is under 4 minutes remaining. That defense collapsing quickly. The high shot and the score. Haley Engel, deep shot, ties this one up at 5 apiece.
Well, that's exactly who Roncalli needed to have a big moment. She scored 4 at Franklin Community and hadn't had one in this game. That time finds her spot. We've been seeing Roncalli go low. This time she goes high, and I think it threw off Bovington Friedman a little bit. Was expecting something to maybe bounce in there. What a big goal and a big moment.
Take a timeout. We're tied at 5.
At Morales Group Staffing, we are all about building better futures. And during these times, we are working hard to put people to work. We are now hiring for hundreds of jobs with pay up to $17 an hour. Visit our website at moralesgroup.net or text JOBS, JOBS, to 317-472-7600 to apply now and get hired today.
We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, IndianaSRN. Hit the bell to get notifications for upcoming games and more. Watch as many games as you want, as many times as you want.
Tonight's game brought to you in part by Aspen Creek Grill. If you're looking for amazing fresh food and servers that genuinely care about service, try Aspen Creek Grill. Give them a call at 866-855-3249. By the way, we had already warned Graham during a timeout. He had said overtime. I think it was you that said overtime.
That was not. That was you.
I'm an old man. I get confused. I can remember it was you or me. So you take a look at that last goal right there. And 2 in a row now for Roncalli, tying this one at 5. But listen, 3:42 still plenty of time. One mess up, and the next thing you know, you lead at 6-5.
That's right. And both of these teams have had some good scores, some good opportunities in not only the fourth period, but in the third. And both didn't capitalize. There were a lot of chances, so those can come back to bite. With Roncalli, it comes down to this draw control. That has given them so many chances. They have really, really done a good job of just overpowering Bloomington in the sense of draw controls. Bloomington, their defense has been good. They slipped 2 times in a row, let Roncalli back into it. They need to get back to their game plan and just hold possession.
Graham had gotten word of my reputation in volleyball of 5-setters. He called me a 5-setter Troy. Now he's like, yeah, I'm not working with you again.
Gonna call Keith.
Yeah, he's gonna resign here immediately. So. All right, here we go. Big draw control. They will fight for it. Picked up there by the Pride. That is only their 3rd of the night, but now they go on offense. 3.5 and counting here in the 4th. One thing you don't want to do is give the other team the ball back and give them a chance. You want to try to, if you can, I would think anyway, as a coach, try to run this down as quickly as I can and just hold on to it.
Yeah, that's right, especially with how good Roncalli has been with the draw controls. You got to assume that this is your chance to hold it, take the last shot at the game, but goals have been hard to come by. At the same time, I feel like they're just going to try to take the opportunity that's presented. They've been pretty good with finding cutters. Their passes have been better than Roncalli's, so I think we could see them find someone inside.
Well, that one was almost stolen away. A lot of checking going on at that 12-meter. By the way, Graham, are you guys doing finals now? Is
yes.
it close?
Coming up, 2 weeks.
Oh, so you need to maybe do some homework?
Yes, I do. Got an essay or two.
We're teasing Graham that he's not going to get home till really late now. So.
Yeah.
But what you do, you just go to class tomorrow, you don't sleep, right?
Yeah, exactly. You just get a Starbucks, pipe up on caffeine, call it a day.
There you go. Or you could pretend you're still on the Pacific time zone and you're still 3 hours ahead.
That's right.
Bloomington holding on to as we come up on 2 minutes. They really are getting guarded very closely by the Royals. Everything is staying in front of that Royal defense.
Been really impressive because the Royals kind of collapsed early on in this game, but now their defense in the most important time has looked really strong.
They'll go behind the cage. Clock continues to be an issue right here, and the Pride just trying to find an opening. They've had a couple of players dive, but not really serious dives toward the goal, so it's nothing that's in the game plan at the moment. But the way the passing's been tonight, that's not a guarantee, is it?
No, it's not. That's why I'm surprised that they're frankly holding on to it this long. I thought they would have tried a couple things by now, but they're going the patient route. They want the last shot.
Yeah, you'd think maybe a lot of times maybe a 2-for-1 if they can. But unfortunately, Roncalli pushing them way outside the 12-meter. That's going to be a call against Roncalli. It's not going to be a free position chance here, but they're going to go one up here because that's a yellow against the Royals, and that's a big penalty.
It is, and it's Micaiah Pearson as well, the fastest player for Roncalli, so this is the chance for Bloomington. They got to use it. They've got to get a goal. Again, you can wait a little bit. You don't have to go right for it, especially now that you're a player up.
So power play opportunity here for the Pride. The pass to the inside and the shot a little bit wide to the left. Unfortunately for the Royals, unable to pick it up. Well, that play a lot of zone right here, down by 1. Ball comes loose. And it's going to be Royals. 19 turnovers now by Bloomington. And by the way, the Royals did score a shorthanded goal earlier tonight. Unfortunately, a turnover. And now Bloomington still a power play opportunity, but they're going to have to hurry. Clock down to 13 seconds. Can they get a shot off? That's the key. Inside the 12, inside the 8, the shot, and the one will be deflected. Great job, excellent shot attempt, and that's going to do it for regulation. Roncalli scoring 2 goals back-to-back toward the end of period number 4. We go to overtime. We're tied at 5.
Aspen Creek Grill, we are a from-scratch concept with comfort fresh food. You can expect a world-class experience. We've got incredible specials, great service. Everything that we do here is made from scratch. We hand-cut all our steaks in-house. Bring your family, come have some great food.
They say nice guys don't finish first. So maybe it's time to reconsider what it means to be first.
It's about being your best, but knowing you can be even better.
It's being present, but respectful of history.
It's donating something more valuable than money.
It's believing in yourself and something bigger.
It's coming from different families, but treating each other like brothers.
It's not just being a man, it's being a Mason.
We're not here to just sell you another piece of software. We're here to helping you procure the licensing, manage and monitor those licenses over time.
Collaboration is very key when working with our clients. We are very much a partnering organization. We definitely work as a team to deliver solutions for our customers.
We're here to build relationships with customers, which is unique.
Hi, I'm Grayson, and our parents work in road construction. Every day they head out to make our roads safer and better for you. But did you know work zone deaths have increased 63% since 2010?
Wow, that's a lot. Please slow down and pay attention when you see all those orange signs. When you do, you're helping to keep our parents and everyone who works on the roads safe. Thanks for looking out for us.
This message is brought to you by your friends at Highway Safety Services. Stay safe, stay alert.
Big play here for Mount Vernon. Hurdle looking right, now over the middle, fires, and it's in there for a touchdown. What a throw. Boy, what a stick, huh? Side out, back to the middle, and guess what? You want a point on the other side, you go to Taylor Lewis.
Here's Freeman. Has an opening shot. Score!
Stafford around a screen. Skip pass. Mays with 3. Mays drive. Floater up and in at the horn.
Hand off and nice hole over the near side. 40, 35, 30. Block to the outside. 20, 15, 10, 5, and touchdown. And that's a big one right there. And finally, somebody gets on the board. As we are back here at Bob Tully Field on the campus of Roncalli High School, I want to remind you tonight's game brought to you in part by Wheeler Mission. For over 131 years, Wheeler Mission has been a pillar in the Indianapolis community, providing help, hope, and healing to people in need. If you'd like to volunteer, need more information, give them a call, 317-686-6239. When we are done here tonight, we'll have the Morales Group post-game show, and Graham will be naming the Piper Logistics Player of the Game. You didn't know that. You were responsible for that, right?
I did not know.
You know now.
I do know.
So,
I'm going to have to think of some names.
Yeah, there's going to be a big couple in there, I'm sure, and
yeah,
it may be the game winner.
Yeah.
When it's all said and done.
We got time.
By the way, I've mentioned to Keith, is he a vice president or president of the company? Whichever he is, he's in the upper echelon.
Yeah.
I told him that you were turning union now, so
you told me.
Yeah, he's Keith. If you're listening, he wants his money right now, so he won't say another word until you get down here and pay him. So. All right, it's going to be now. You got to play mistake-free here in overtime if you're going to win this thing.
Yeah, I think especially if you're on Roncalli, because the mistakes have been costly. They were fortunate that they got let back in by Bloomington with those back-to-back goals in the fourth period, and for Bloomington, you got to win the draw control. You've got to win it. They had their chance at the end of that fourth period because they did win the draw control, but it didn't turn into anything. Still, when Roncalli controls off of that first possession, they have had so many chances, and they have capitalized in these later periods. So I think that is where this game is going to be decided, is in the circle right now to start this overtime period.
Roncalli able to force this into an overtime by scoring 3 out of the last 4 goals. They scored the last 2 goals, the one at 4:53, the other one at 3:42. So we're talking about the quickest goal of the night. That was it, just a minute and 10 seconds, 11 seconds apart that they were able to score to tie this one up. So right now, Royals have a lot of momentum, but let's see here again. We head to and this might be our first overtime. It'll be a 3-minute OT. Doesn't leave you a whole lot of time here to get something going offensively. So you're really, as we said a little bit ago, you cannot make a mistake late here. Bloomington will be moving right to left in this overtime. Right now, the draw controls Royals lead at 8-3. This time it'll be Bloomington. So they pick up their 4th of the night. Now can they hold on to it?
And they got a good chance to, because Roncalli's still without Micaiah Pearson, who got a yellow very late in that 4th period. She's currently sitting in the penalty box. So the Royals, without their speediest player on the field right now, that could be a very big ripple in this overtime.
So let's see if they'll survive it here, as the Pride will work behind the cage. They have not had a whole lot of success from behind the cage yet, because the player that is diving down the lane, generally the pass is always high like that one.
Yeah, passes haven't been great on either side. They've been a little bit better for Bloomington, but the passes need to be perfect now. Like you said, got to be mistake-free, and here comes Micaiah Pearson.
So now even strength. 2 minutes. She had 1 minute to go on that yellow. And much like what we saw at the end of regulation, this Bloomington team holding the possession here, maybe trying to get that last shot. Unfortunately, you turned it over.
And here goes Pearson, got that speed, gets it into the attacking half.
Boy, and almost turned it over, though. By the way, for the Pride, that is their 20th turnover of the night. We have another loose ball. It will stay here with the Royals, as Camden Timberlake all the way, and then the shot and the score.
And that's a goal for Roncalli.
Number 42, Ella Holtz. And how about that for Roncalli? Holtz gets the goal. They score 3 straight, and they pick up the win here tonight in overtime. They scored at the 1:12 mark and win it 6-5. Roncalli with the win, and what a finish to this one. A come from behind win. You just saw the winning shot right there. And you can't feel too bad about that. That was a great shot.
It was a great shot, you're right. And the second goal late in this game that Roncalli scored from that side where it was short-sided, and they were still able to just squeak it past Bovington Friedman, who is a phenomenal goalie, has played a very strong game, but the Royals just had enough to squeak it past. Such an impressive win, shows a lot of grit.
Yeah.
This team really has some good dedication. They've got good camaraderie to be able to come back from such a deficit where it looked like they were pretty defeated at one point.
Yeah, and they were, with about 4 minutes remaining in regulation. It's time for the Morales Group post-game show, brought to you by the Morales Group, building better futures one story at a time. Whether you're looking to start a new career or grow your team with exceptional talent, the Morales Group is here to help you. And again, just a great win, come from behind. They fell down early. The offense wasn't working for Roncalli most of the night. The turnovers were big in that first half, and it got them in such a huge hole. But as you said a little bit ago, for them to stick with it and to get that one goal at 4:53, and then they come back a minute and 11 seconds later and tie it up, and you just kind of felt all the momentum going their way. But Bloomington had a chance. They won that draw control and had a chance to win it right there.
Yeah, and they had a chance. They had a player up.
Yeah.
Late in the 4th period, and they still weren't able to get it done. Roncalli's defense was phenomenal. You could see them switching every single play that they had, and it was so impressive. The defense won this for Roncalli, absolutely gave them so many chances, but Bloomington, man, they got off to such a rapid start, just couldn't quite close it. You feel for them because they really led the entire way, but just couldn't close it out.
Well, that draw control was big tonight. They won at 8-4. Speaking of Roncalli, time to name the Piper Logistics Player of the Game. From warehousing to transportation, Piper Logistics delivers solutions that keep you on the move with efficiency and reliability. Piper Logistics gets the job done. And I'm going to leave it up to you, but I don't know about you, but I would think that game winner might be the player of the game.
Well, I was thinking about it. I do think I'm going to go away from that, though.
Okay.
I'm going to say Micaiah Pearson is going to get the player of the game because she not only started that offensive opportunity that led to the overtime goal, forced a turnover, but she also scored one of those late goals in the fourth period that started the streak of goals, or maybe it was in the third period that started the streak of goals where they scored 3 of the next 4. So I was very impressed with her speed, her commitment, and her turnover there at the end that created the chance for Ella Holtz. Absolutely, though. Shout out Holtz, who had that overtime goal. Phenomenal shot, phenomenal score. But Pearson, very, very impressive.
All right, so there is your player of the game, again brought to you by Piper Logistics. Want to thank the entire crew, as always. Excellent job. You saw the game winner right there. We thank you for being with us. We'll see you tomorrow night. College baseball, Indiana Ball State, 6 o'clock here on Indiana SRN.